Hey everyone, I'm Joey, this is my brother Ryan, and we're the Lagoons. Thanks so much for joining our creator session today. We're gonna talk about some fun stuff, play some music today. We're gonna go through our writing process, what it's like to be brothers in a band together, and we're gonna share some new music as well. So stick around and thanks for joining again.
I've been driving in this California sun. I've been on the run just to get a moment with you, with you.
Hey friends, welcome back to Creator Sessions. And for this episode, we are joined by brothers Joey and Ryan, who make up the Lagoons. Now, they started this project back in 2015 while they were still living in Austin, Texas, and then they brought it back to their home state of California after feeling homesick, and their song, California, based on that homesick feeling, went viral. Now, one of my goals with this series is to share creators that are at totally different stages of their career. And for the Lagoons, they are pretty early in their journey still, which is why this episode is such a good one to watch. It wasn't all that long ago they quit their full-time day jobs. They still book most of their own gigs, and it's just really inspiring to watch them chase this dream. Please welcome the Lagoons on Creator Sessions.
On an island with nowhere to go, all the time, but it's moving slow. Need a friend to help make it move along. Sending signals to the ship at sea, hoping someone will notice me. I've been praying that someone will pick me up. Tell me something good, I need a friend. I'm feeling lonely, needing you when nothing else is good. And I'm in a bend, I come looking for you. Tell me something good, I need a friend. I'm feeling lonely, needing you when nothing else is good. I come looking for you. 2, 3, 4. Summer signal, now you're on the way, but there's a storm brewing in the bay. Might have to wait another day until you pick me up. Bonfires and sugar canes and palm trees and abandoned planes. I'm getting faded every day from 9 to 5. Tell me something good, I need a friend. I'm feeling lonely, needing you when nothing else is good. And I'm in a bend, I come looking for you. Tell me something good, I need a friend. I'm feeling lonely, needing you when nothing else is good. I come looking for you. Tell me something good.
So yeah, that song's called Something Good off our Midnight Afternoon album. We wrote that, during 2020. And, it was a tough year for everyone. And I think the lyrics kind of reflected that of being a little lonely and wanting a friend and needing some sense of love in your life. And so I think that was kind of the inspiration behind that one. Our Midnight Afternoon album came out in 2020, so it was definitely a tough time that everyone was going through, and so we didn't want the whole song to be about that period, but we wanted there to be some type of songs that reflected. And for us as songwriters, our best form of therapy is writing music and kind of getting it all out on the page and into a song, and so that's definitely a good representation of what we were going through at the time. So we're from California originally. We were born and raised in the Los Angeles suburbs. And we had been living in Austin, Texas for a while. I went to school at UT, and, when we started the Lagoons back in 2015-ish, I think we started writing music that we were trying to find our voice and our sound, and we realized a lot of our sound was that kind of California chill, beachy vibe, and we had also been a little homesick, and so that's how we wrote the lyrics and the song California, which we're about to play right now.
Driving in this California sun, I've been on the run just to get a moment with you, boo. I've been working all these hours all night long. When I hear that song, that makes me think of you, boo. I've been sipping on some California wine. Everything feels fine when I'm surrounded by you, boo. I've been puffing on some California kush and thinking about my life, how everything revolves around you, boo. Around you, boo. driving in this California sun. I've been on the run just to get a moment with you, with you.
Yeah, so that song was definitely like an ode to California. That was us paying our respects to the home state that we grew up in. Austin, Texas, we loved being out there, but I think there was part of us that always had this like desire to kind of come back to California, and I think we were trying to think of some of the iconic California things that people really associate with, and there were a lot of things that we like kind of tapped into from more of a pop culture standpoint. But I think our advice would be for this song, this was a really close song to our heart. It was about our home state where we grew up, and I think that's why it really shined through with our fan base and with people that never heard our music, is because it was a song that was kind of relatable, but in a sense also it was almost like this fantasy place that we were creating for our listeners to imagine being in. And it definitely it also fit with all of our influences that we love, Steely Dan, Fleetwood Mac, Crosby, Stills and Nash, the Eagles, all that whole 70s, Laurel Canyon vibe. So that's kind of how that song came about. We had no idea what life it would take on its own, but obviously it's had a really great response and people have really felt connected to that song. So we wrote California in 2015, and we had kind of put out a couple like SoundCloud EPs, like just demos, just to kind of get our music out there, start booking shows around Austin, start trying to create a name for ourselves. And with that song in particular, we actually went into a studio in Austin and like more professionally recorded it than all of our other demos that we had done. And I remember we'd be in the studio and people would like come through and be like, yo, this song is like awesome. Like, when are you releasing it? Like, what's the plan? Like, what are you guys doing with it? I can't wait to hear it. It's going to be on the radio, yada, yada. So that was like a great way to hype us up. And so that kind of convinced us to get some PR. We hired just like a boutique PR firm that ended up getting the song pitched to a bunch of indie blogs. From there, it actually started trending on some of these indie blogs. And this was when Hype Machine and Hypem were like really big in promoting independent artists. And I remember, I think a month into the song, it had already gotten trending to #1 on Hype Machine. And then from there, Spotify, when we released the song on Spotify like a week later, we had actually released this song on indie blogs prior to releasing it on Spotify. And so once we released it on Spotify, all the indie blogs had already kind of featured it, and then indie editorial playlists and all the Spotify playlists started picking it up. And literally within a month, it already had like 1 million streams, and it kind of just took on a life of its own, where it was more of a word of mouth play, I think. We didn't really spend much marketing behind the song. It kind of just took off on its own. It definitely gave us a lot of confidence as artists. It was more of just reassuring. I think we've always believed in ourselves and the music that we're putting out there, and I think as an artist, sometimes it can feel a little defeating when you don't get the traction that you want for a song, or you don't get the support that you think a song should deserve. So for this song in particular, it definitely was like a step in the right direction for us. We didn't want to get in our heads too much about the success that we were having, but at the same time, it gave us enough confidence to, quit our day jobs and to fully pursue this full time, and to, be full-time musicians and songwriters and producers.
We didn't do that right away.
We didn't do that right away, but
it's not like you have one song that.
Yeah, it wasn't an instant thing that we like just quit and got up, but it was more just like it started helping us book shows easier in Austin. We started having more of a recognizable brand around town when we wanted to work with other artists. And then, I think a year or two after is when we actually fully pursued music full time.
I mean, he quit his job before I did. I had a part-time job that I was doing, and the way it worked for me is it was like flexible hours, so I could gradually go from doing like a full-time thing there to being like part-time there. And then it just like gradually phased out because the money that I had been like saving up and the money that that was now coming in from the band and everything and our streaming and our shows was able to like basically sustain me, and I had like a little cushion built up. So yeah, I was able to then live and not have to worry about like having a second job on the side and extra income, because this was able to sustain, like that was really it.
Yeah, for me, I think, so I was a tech salesman at Oracle, and I was making, good money. That it was hard to kind of walk away from that job. And my boss, I think, always knew, well, not always knew, but like he knew that I had this song California out that was doing really well, and that we were playing shows around town. And I think he kind of knew the time was coming that I would eventually step away. But I think my advice would be like, when your music is bringing in enough to support yourself, where you feel comfortable making that leap. Like, I mean, we had California out, or we had some success for 2 years before we decided to fully pursue this, just because we wanted to make sure it was real and not like just like a fad. And I think for us, 2 years of proving what we were doing that was working, that we were making consistent money off of and able to tour and do these things, was kind of the final thing that we needed for ourselves to feel comfortable taking the full leap into music full time. So yeah, I think our advice would just be, it really is a step-by-step decision.
What my story was would not be what my advice would be to people necessarily. Like, that's like the smart, rational thing to do, what you just described. Like going and like, but I almost feel like if you're like truly like trying to do it, not to say we didn't do this, like just not this way, but like make enough money where you can like get by and then just like pursue this 100%. I think that's kind of where we got to, is like,
I think the problem for us is that we had full-time jobs 9 to 5,
yeah,
where it was hard to make time for this at a certain point.
It's like, but like figure out how you can go all out. Like,
yeah,
that's the main thing, is like, even if you have to do certain things to like get by, but like figure out how you can do those things and then go all out.
Yeah,
that would be my advice.
For us, we were working our 9 to 5 jobs and then coming home and working on music from 6 to 2 a.m. every single night. And it was literally a grind that we were committed to because we were passionate about what we were doing and we loved it. It was fun. It was not only our job, but it was a hobby. And so I think for us, we wanted to find a way to do that full time. And so I think, for me at least, it was when we were finally making enough money to quit our full-time jobs and fully pursue the music.
Creator Sessions is brought to you by ConvertKit, the creator marketing platform. And at ConvertKit, we believe that the future belongs to creators like you. That's why we invest in this series. By sharing the more intimate details of the creator journey, we inspire and encourage more creators to follow their passion, because creators shape culture and culture shapes the world. So, whatever your craft, our creator marketing platform can help you share it with the world. Click the link to learn more about how ConvertKit can help you earn a living online.
Cool, Ray. You want to do So Did I?
Sure.
That you're so divine, so do I, so do I. Probably more than you realize. loves you more than the stars in the sky. So do I. So do I. Probably more than you realize. So do I. So do I. So do I. Thought you knew everything about you. So did I. So did I. She was lucky to ever have you. So am I. So am I. She'd cry when you left without her. So would I. So would I. She knew the day would come when you were mine. I thought she'd cry. Instead she smiled. And so did I. 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 If she asked me if I felt the same way, I would tell her that I never want to live without her. Nothing else matters.
Yeah, so that one's called So Did I. And that was a very collaborative song that we did, I think. I think our process, obviously every songwriter's process is different. And every creator's process is different, but we're very collaborative. You know, a lot of time I'll come to Ryan with an idea and he'll build off of it, or vice versa. He'll come to me with an idea and I'll add melodies, and then we kind of write the lyrics together. Sometimes it's definitely more weighted one way or the other, but at the end of the day, I think we work together to create the best possible song together. For this song in particular, I think Ryan had, if I remember correctly, you had the initial like guitar part, and you had like a line like "Your mama thinks that you're so divine" or something like that. And I think we just took that and just like built out what we wanted the song to mean. And I mean, because you did that, and then I did this piano part.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like Ryan kind of started playing that, and then Ryan started off with like this guitar part right here, and then I kind of heard like this like 90s-ish like kind of piano part. So we had that basic melody and structure down, and then I think
It's pretty much the song.
And then I think once he started singing that, I think you were singing "Your mama thinks that you're so divine."
I was singing something like
You
that.
were singing something like that. I don't know if it was exactly that. And I think I heard that and I was like, that should be the opening line right there. And then we had this whole concept of like, she thinks this, but so do I. And so it was like kind of a call and response of like, every line was like, has to be something that you would mutually feel for a person.
Yeah,
that their mother also feels for them.
That's the key.
That's
how it is with like every song though. Because like it's more just like what's the story of the song, and it's like it could be personal, but it also is like how is it relatable to everybody. So it's like could potentially be also something that if it's you writing a song about your experience, how does that song also relate to me potentially?
Exactly. Yeah, I think that's a key thing that Ryan just touched on, is like we don't want to be extremely vague in our lyrics, but I think it's important for us to write a song that can be translated with different meanings depending on who the listener is and interpreted in different ways. And so even though it might mean one thing to us, if it can mean 10 things to 10 different people, then I think it's a more effective lyric, because then it can be interpreted in many different ways. You know, I probably wrote about, my personal love story with my fiance, and Ryan's been in relationships too. So I think we used different inspirations to come to this kind of conclusion that at some point, the mother raises the daughter, and the daughter will hopefully one day go on to find her own love and then become her own mother to her own daughter. And so it's kind of like that cycle of
passive love through generations.
That cycle of love. And so, so that's what that song came down to. But more on the collaborative process, I think, is it's very cool that we get to work together as brothers, and write music together. So I think we're very fortunate for that. And it could definitely be a little tough sometimes. We definitely don't always agree eye to eye on everything, but I think at the end of the day, we understand what type of music we want to be putting out together, and we come to a compromise. And I think that's the most important thing in a collaborative process, is that you might have an idea, but the other person might not necessarily vibe with that idea. And I think it's important to be open-minded and create every song as kind of more like a brainstorming session where there's no right or wrong answers. It's more just you're throwing things at the wall and seeing what sticks with the people you're working with. So I think that's kind of our process of how we come up with music, and everyone's different, but that's been really effective for us. Artists and people are forever evolving and changing throughout their careers, and I think a lot of artists do the same thing over and over again because they know that's what works, and that's totally fine. I think for us, we have a lot of different influences, and our influences are always changing, and our inspirations are always coming from all over the place. And so I think, we are capable of doing a lot of different styles of music, and I think we're trying to kind of explore just what it'd be like to kind of do some different styles. And we don't know if it's going to work or not, but we love it and it makes us happy. So, we're happy to try it out and see what happens. We have a whole whiteboard of songs, and I think as a songwriter, it's sometimes tough to figure out what songs fit together on a project. I think that's been one of our struggles over the last couple of years of putting out music is, you put out one song that does well, and then you kind of become associated with that sound. And I think it's always challenging as a creator to depart from that initial sound that made you successful in the first place. And so a lot of our future songs that we're working on have more of like a folk or, Americana vibe, or at least an influence. I wouldn't say they're full that, but I think we kind of are tapping into different genres in some of our new music that we're working on. And it's always challenging to find a place on an album or a project that you want it to be a cohesive piece of work. And the concept of this next project we're kind of working on is coming back to California and being home, and just everything that comes with that, the good and the bad and all that stuff. So we're really looking forward to releasing this new leg of work that we've been working on for the last year or so. I think taking inspiration from all over is kind of what every artist does, right? You hear a song and you're like, oh, I really like that song. I want to make a song in a similar style to that. Or I watch a movie and want to make a movie in a similar style of that, the way that it's shot or something like that. So I think artists are always taking inspiration from what they're seeing on a day-to-day basis. But for us, we grew up listening to the classic rock music from the 60s and 70s, the Laurel Canyon music of Joni Mitchell and Fleetwood Mac and Steely Dan and the Eagles and Crosby, Stills, Nash. And basically those influences of just like pure songwriting and like singer-songwriter is kind of at the core of what the songs that we write. And then the way we produce them out is more Daft Punk is a huge influence of ours. Radiohead is a huge influence of ours. So I think we listen to those records in Rainbows, and we listen to Random Access Memories, and we listen to some of our favorite records, and understand 07 and understand kind of how they made those records. And then we study them, like you studied any other piece of work, and we try to figure out how do we make the song that we just wrote sound as good as these productions that we hear on these records. And so I think, people drive influence or find influence from all over the place, but for us, it's really just more trying to mimic our idols of what they've done to make them successful. We're not stealing. I don't ever encourage anyone to steal a chord structure or harmony or anything like that. That's not what we're saying, but definitely use your influences to help guide you in the direction that you want to go.
No, I think that in itself is like what kind of you do as somebody that's creative. Like, that's kind of the creative process in a way. You like learn that little tip or trick over here, you learn this little one over here. It's just like all your little influences all around you. You borrow like this guitar lick or that piano chord or like whatever, and then you got to try to figure out how to make it like more unique or original or something a little bit different, and like more just how it, like, you put it together.
I think being a creator is the best job in the world. We wouldn't do this if we didn't want to do this every single day. I think you have to wake up and want to do this for a living. I think it's not for everyone. It's not a very, you don't get immediate gratification a lot of time. So you'll be working on a project for a very long time, and there will be months before you release it, before someone actually hears it or gives you feedback. Versus other jobs, you make a sale, you get a commission, and you're immediately paid for your work. In our profession and as a creator, that you can work on a project for a year before anyone sees it. So you really have to wake up and want to do that job every day and believe in yourself and what you're doing, that what you're doing is a good work and good art, and that you're happy to share this with the world, and that you think it's going to create some type of positive impact. And so my advice is just going to be, in general, just like stay positive throughout the hard days of, when you're having writer's block or whatever, you're going through in your life in personal times. I think you just have to stay positive and believe in yourself more than anything, because at the end of the day, if you believe in what you're doing and are positive when you're sharing it with people, and if your energy is infectious, then I think it will come off in whatever you're doing.
Okay, friends, as always, I hope you enjoyed this session with the Lagoons and walked away learning a few things. Here are some of the things that stick out to me from this episode with Joey and Ryan. Number one, like a lot of artists, they agree that getting things out on paper and into a song is a fantastic form of therapy. Number two, sometimes it only takes one song, in their case, California, to help you realize that this path as a creator is worth chasing. Number three, quitting your day job to pursue a creative career looks different for everyone. What does it look like for you? Number four, you have to wake up and want to do this, because there is no such thing as immediate gratification. And number five, the most important one, as Joey said, being a creator is the best job in the world. As always, I am Haley. Thank you so much for joining. And if you want to dig more into the takeaways that came from this episode, make sure that you listen to the corresponding podcast, which we release the following Friday after this premiere. I will see you next time.